Hello everyone, my name is Binks and welcome back to Let's Play the Great Ace Attorney 2 Resolve, where we are continuing in the final chapter of the game, Chapter 5, the Resolve of Ryunosuke Naruhodo Trial Part 2, the Old Bailey.
What is your position now? The court awaits your response to the witness's assertion. The assertion that on the night in question, the victim's assailant was in fact Mr. Kazuma Asogi.
This isn't the dead end it seems to be. The answer's right in front of me. It comes down to Jigoku, or Kazuma. Both of them had the opportunity to kill Gregson, but only one of them did it. And I'm just a step away from proving who. Very well. The defense is ready to respond to the assertion put forward by Judge Jigoku. The idea that the victim's murder could have been committed by Prosecutor Asogi is... We have to believe in him, you know? But by how shady Jigoku's acting really makes it clear as well. So, we don't know exactly what went down with Kazuma and Gregson, but there's no way he killed him. Because it looks like the sword went into the trunk. It didn't go into Gregson's body. He was shot, not stabbed. So, it's impossible. Judge Jigoku, let me remind you of something you said only a few minutes ago. You claimed that logical reasoning is the future of the judicial process.
It is, no question.
Well, logical reasoning can prove something here. Namely, that it would have been impossible for Prosecutor Asogi to commit the crime. So what are we going with? Is it, like I said, the fact that he was not stabbed but shot? Because we haven't really said or proven that Kazuma had a gun, right? I don't know.
What? The court will only accept an argument that is supported by compelling evidence. So present what you have, counsel. What proof is there that allegedly demonstrates the impossibility of Prosecutor Asogi's involvement?
I need to look. Introduction. Gun? No. Person. Okay. Shot in the chest at close range from the front. Scorch marks. Exit body. Standard issue firearms for members of judiciary. The gun is a big deal too. Because how did Jigoku get that gun? Was it one that Gregson had? Something about Kazuma? Gregson's trunk. And we have this. The trunk might be one thing. His sword, missing a tip. I mean, we could clearly connect that back to the trunk, but I think we already proved that. Evacuation drill. This is the telegram. No. we have anything else about Asogi? Asogi papers. I don't know. Is it the trunk then? Is there anything else in the trunk? Okay. I thought it was just that passport, right? I really don't know what we're arguing. I have a couple ideas. Shoot, I wish I could talk to... Telegram. Small component. It's about the sword? Oh boy. I was kind of worried this would happen when at the end of last episode I ended it here because I was like, I don't know. And now here I am back to this one and I'm like, I don't know. I might have to start guessing, which means I'm gonna start getting penalties. I mean, I've gotten penalties before, but I really don't know. We already looked at this, right? Yeah. I don't think there's any point. I don't know. I'm really stuck, you guys. And I'm worried, like, because I'm so stuck, I feel like I'll just get a bunch of penalties. It's different if I just get one. I have no clue. Like, I was thinking the trunk. Proof allegedly demonstrate impossibility of his involvement. This is, no. Should we go with Karma?
Take that!
Oh no. But the music stopped. What? Why are you giving me mixed signals here?
You're making no evidence weep here, Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Sorry?
Every piece of evidence has a role to play in arriving at the truth. They're not playthings you can toss around the courtroom for entertainment.
Why did the music stop? It's giving me mixed signals. Ah! I was trying to help defend you, Kazuma. Talk to me, Susato. I really don't know. Never mind the evidence. You're about to make me weep, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh no, I can't upset Susato-san, or I'll end up being upset too. You know a member of the crew... Okay, so they're gonna give me hints, please. You know a member of the crew was on sentry duty outside the first-class cabins nearly all the time. Oh, okay. So as long as the guard was there, it would have been impossible to fire a shot without it being heard. And that very much narrows down when the crime could have been committed. Okay. So it has to do with them going out, that evacuation drill?
The court will only accept an argument.
Okay, blah blah blah. Present. At least they gave me a hint. So why? About the time? I don't remember anything, because it's been a while. About the time. 10 p.m., 20 minutes, and Kazuma. He might have said something before, but I really don't remember because it's been a while. He probably said something that helps rule him out. Okay, I'm just glad they gave me this hint because otherwise I would have been screwed.
Take that!
The music is still going. Why did the music stop for the incorrect one, but then it keeps going for the correct one? You guys got it backwards. This itinerary for crew members of the SS Grouse, my lord. This is conclusive proof.
An itinerary? How does that prove anything?
Judge Jigoku, the moment you acknowledge that you found the victim's body in your cabin, this itinerary suddenly became much more significant.
What? Why?
On the night in question, as always, a crewman's sentry was on guard outside your cabin door. As long as he was there, nobody could have fired a shot inside the cabin.
Absolutely, because it's inconceivable that the guard wouldn't have heard it and come to investigate.
So that tells us that the crime must have taken place when the guard was elsewhere. And that narrows it down to the 20 minutes just after 10 o'clock, as indicated on the itinerary.
Yes, I see no flaw in your reasoning so far.
But the crucial point is this: when the evacuation drill took place, the steamship had already put to sea from the port of Dunkirk.
Oh,
Now, clearly the murder could only have been committed by somebody who was aboard the vessel at the time. But Prosecutor Asogi stated in yesterday's proceedings, which is why I've forgotten, because it was a while ago,
I didn't come to Great Britain to take anyone's life. So I left Gregson and disembarked the ship.
yeah, he did say that. Oh, and I think he said there should be some way to prove that, right?
I spent that night at a boarding house in the town and returned to England the following morning.
Which I'm sure the court will agree is conclusive proof that Kazuma Asogi couldn't possibly have carried out the killing.
Ugh.
But has anyone verified that? Has anyone gone to check that boarding house?
No, absolutely not. I don't accept that at all.
I mean, I'm sure he's telling the truth, but they should do their due diligence and actually check. What do you mean?
The boy's just saying that to exonerate himself. We can't trust that he really disembarked the vessel. Obviously, after he left my cabin, he hid himself somewhere nearby on the ship. Just waiting for his chance to...
Oh, okay. No, that's out of the question. Isn't it, Kazuma?
As the defense rightly recalls, I disembarked the vessel and spent the night in a boarding house in Dunkirk. And as I said yesterday, I signed my name in the accommodations register book. All extremely easy to verify and undeniable proof. Ugh, no,
There's no escape this time. You can forget that you're a judge or a government minister. It's time you gave the court an honest answer as a common man. You killed Inspector Tobias Gregson and transported his corpse back to Britain. Then you dumped the body in the room on Fresno Street and made it look as if the murder happened there. That's what really happened, isn't it, Seishiro Jigoku?
It was that damned trial 10 years ago. That's when all this began.
Oh, he's gonna break the stand.
Looking back now, my fate was decided that day. I was doomed already.
Oh, damn. Damn, bro. Oh my god, they're floating up in the air. Defying gravity. It's over. My life is over. He's too strong. This man is too strong. He's a threat. A British assassin to eliminate a professor in Japan. A Japanese assassin to eliminate a detective in Britain. Both assassins will use diplomatic immunity to evade conviction and return safely to their homelands. The assassin exchange request arrived from Britain about 1 year ago. Though it was hardly a request, it was a demand. And for that, you decided to recruit Mr. Asogi. But things didn't go according to plan. Oh, but things didn't go according to plan. Your chosen assassin never made it to Britain. And you found yourself unable to dispatch a replacement. Because I was already on my way to Britain at that time in Kazuma's place. And that left me with only one option for carrying out my obligation. To eliminate the mark myself, personally. Of course, there was but a single opportunity for me to do that. The International Forensic Science Symposium, I presume. That's right. I decided it would be safest to carry out the plan before my arrival in Britain. So, I enlisted the help of my British counterpart, and made arrangements for a pretext that would take the inspector to Dunkirk. To lure the man in, he was given a sham mission by the Reaper. What? The Reaper? But there's only one person who could have done that. The mastermind of the entire operation. The Reaper himself. Ah. So, that means that the assassin exchange was... It was all planned by the Reaper. I'm not at liberty to say anything about my British counterpart. Yeah, you don't want to get killed. Anyway, the inspector accepted the Reaper's mission and dutifully infiltrated my cabin on the steamship. But it was all a trap designed to lead him to France and his own death. Oh, how awful. It was past 9 o'clock when I returned to my cabin from the dining hall that evening. I was just listening to the music. It's very interesting, very different. I didn't give him time to attack me. I choked him until he lost consciousness. But there was a guard just outside the door, so I left it at that for the time being. Even the slightest noise might have aroused suspicion, so I bided my time, waiting. For the 20 minutes after 10 o'clock. I had intended to finish him by strangulation, but moments before I had the chance, he suddenly came round and went for me in a reckless move. So you used his gun. Got it. Oh. Never mind.
I'd received the British-issued gun 16 years earlier, being a member of the judiciary as a visiting student.
And they let you keep it? That's weird.
I never imagined I'd have to use it for something like that. So, the revolver belongs to you, does it?
And the victim was killed inside your cabin on the SS Grouse. Which begs the question of why you arranged for his body to be discovered in the room on Fresno Street.
The young judicial assistant over there has already answered that question. There was no way I could take the body up on deck to throw it over the side. That's precisely where all the crewmen were gathered for the evacuation drill. So before the first-class cabin sentries returned, I took the corpse to the refrigeration room.
Ah. And then on arriving in Dover, you concealed the body in your trunk in order to smuggle it past the border police.
I knew I needed to take steps if the police were to be convinced when the body was found in London.
In that case, you must have known. You must have had intimate details of Inspector Gregson's intended schedule.
Yes, my British counterpart sent me everything I needed to know. The inspector was due at Fresno Street at 5 o'clock that afternoon. In order to meet a man by the name of Hugh Boone, from whom he would take back his police identification.
Ah.
I decided that man would be the perfect person to set up as the culprit. So I took a hackney carriage over there with the body still in my trunk.
That must have been just after we took this photograph with you at the hotel then.
Yes, I wasn't expecting a welcoming committee. I was more than a little nervous. On Fresno Street, I spotted a young girl selling little firecrackers.
Miss Venus, of course.
I conceived of the candle trick there and then. So I donned a simple disguise and approached the girl to buy enough firecrackers to replicate a gunshot.
What sort of disguise?
For some reason, the inspector had a bright red hairpiece in his own traveling case, so I put that on, although I suspect I drew more attention to myself in that than I would have otherwise.
The hairpiece we found at the scene. The inspector had it ready for the Red-Headed League investigation.
I only arrived at the room at around 4:45, so I quickly placed the body on the floor, moved the notice board, and set up my little candle trick. I arranged it so the firecrackers would go off with a bang around 15 minutes later. So that Mr. Boone, who was due to arrive at 5, would walk straight into a trap. Except, at the last moment, I made a careless blunder.
What was that? I imagine it was the bag of fish and chips. Ah.
I didn't notice that it had fallen out of his overcoat pocket when I moved the body to the refrigeration room. I put it back into his pocket the following morning, but... well, it seems the warmth of the heated cabin had accelerated the decay of the fish. Anyway, that's everything. All the sordid details of what I did.
Is this really it? I feel like there's gonna be some more. Can't be over this easily.
I've heard enough.
We need to identify who the Reaper is, so there's no way.
We've arrived at the truth about the murder of one of the country's most capable and respected police inspectors.
Excuse me.
The witness will be tried in the coming days. For a crime of such a vile nature, you can expect the most severe penalty.
An exchange of assassins. What a foolhardy idea. Mr. Jigoku, one last detail. Who was your counterpart in Britain? Who was the mastermind behind the assassin exchange? He's not going to tell us. Nothing you say now can make matters any worse for you. Just tell us.
Enough! I've already told you that I cannot say.
Even though, as things stand, you may very well never set foot in your homeland again.
What are you waiting for? Can't we get this over with now? It's finished. All of it. I'm finished. Then, in the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I now pronounce the findings of this court. This man before us has admitted to the willful murder of Tobias Gregson. Seishiro Jigoku, it is the opinion of this court that you should be found guilty.
Damn. That was quick.
And may I remind all those present of the strict confidentiality demanded by this closed court.
I guess we don't have to hold a separate trial for him now.
Moments ago, Mr. Jigoku signed a written confession, admitting to the murder of Inspector Gregson and the subsequent conveyance of the body. In short, the defendant's innocence has therefore been established beyond doubt.
I don't think Kazuma's gonna be okay with this. I don't think he's gonna let it go. Oh boy. Because we don't know who the Reaper is. I mean, we know, but, you know. Oh, wonderful. Well done, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes, thank you.
Is something wrong?
I'm just a little troubled by his silence.
The true identity of the Reaper of the Bailey in this extraordinary assassin exchange. We do remain in the dark about these mysteries. However, insofar as the indictment brought against the defendant in this trial, we have reached a conclusion. I have every intention of pursuing both mysteries as a prosecutor. As you wish. Now for the formal adjudication. I hereby declare the defendant Baroque Van
Objection!
Zieks.
Oh, knew it. Oh, Kazuma. The prosecution calls for adjudication to be deferred.
Counsel. The accused's innocence hasn't been fully established at all. And therefore, it would be wrong to deliver a verdict at this time. That is the prosecution's unwavering position.
You're just not gonna let it go. Oh, okay. Okay, I know we gotta do this, but damn, bro.
What?
But Judge Jigoku has already confessed.
Nevertheless, Barack Van Zieks has committed crimes for which he must be punished. Well, it would appear you have information that the court needs to hear, Prosecutor Asugi.
Of course, Strongar's gonna go along with it because he wants Van Zieks out of the way. And he wants somebody else to go down as the Reaper, officially.
Certainly, the murder of Inspector Gregson was actually carried out by Seishiro Jigoku. But it's clear from the witness's testimony that he was coerced into complying with the plot, into this sick, merciless assassin exchange.
That may be true, but
So what I want to know is, who coerced Jigoku? Who was pulling the strings? The victim went to France, having been ordered on a mission for the Reaper, only to be murdered. In other words, the mastermind behind the assassin exchange is someone in a position to give such an order.
You're so close, but so far, Kazuma. You're circling it.
As we've already established, the Reaper himself. Well, certainly, that would appear to follow. The prosecution hereby formally accuses the man in the dock, Barack Van Zieks, of being the Reaper of the Bailey, and furthermore, I'm going to prove his guilt beyond all reasonable doubt.
Damn, you're so stunning. You're wrong, but you're stunning.
what?
Kazuma, why? Why are you like this? It's the only way to the truth, Ryunosuke.
Order, order, order. The Reaper of the Bailey is a long-standing mystery, Counsel. Are you suggesting you have some new information with which to build a case?
Scotland Yard has already investigated Lord Van Zieks very thoroughly in that regard, and they found no evidence whatsoever to substantiate the claim that he is the Reaper.
Perhaps, but circumstances have now changed.
What do you mean?
It's already been established that the assassin exchange was negotiated with Jigoku by the Reaper himself, which means we now have a new line of questioning by which to identify definitively the man's identity. That is the prosecution's intention here. I must say I'm surprised by quite how tenaciously you appear to want to besmirch my name. You are guilty of an unforgivable crime, Lord Van Zieks.
We know which crime you're talking about. You're focused about your daddy.
And I will bring you to justice for it, whatever it takes.
That explains Kazuma's silence before. We'll stop at nothing to finish what Lord Van Zieks unwittingly started 10 years ago.
V for Vendetta up in here. Not like the actual movie, but like literally a vendetta.
Very well, whilst it's extremely irregular. I will, on this occasion, grant the prosecution further opportunity for witness testimony. The defendant will disclose any and all involvement he has had with the Reaper and the assassin exchange. I thank you, my lord, for guiding the court so wisely. I hereby declare this court to be in session for a supplementary hearing.
Oh, how'd you get your drink again? And there's the leg.
Pray turn a blind eye to the discourtesy as I verify that this vile and unremitting accusation hasn't soured the contents of my hollow chalice.
Lord Van Zeke, stop being extra. Come on, man. We're trying to prove your innocence again.
They have every right to be extra. They are being extra. I first had to suffer the pseudonym of the Reaper 10 years ago now. And ever since that time, I've endured the weight of implied guilt that's gone with it. So I welcome the chance to testify now and crush those allegations once and for all.
Good. That's your way of saying bring it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Then let justice decide, Lord Van Zieks.
The prosecution seeks to begin building its case by calling the accused to the stand as the primary witness, in order that he may answer the accusation brought by the prosecution that he is the Reaper of the Bailey.
And what says the defense?
Putting the defendant in the witness stand can be extremely dangerous. And Kazuma-sama is too emotional at the moment. He's not thinking logically.
You're right that he's not himself.
But I knew it would be like this. And I came here today determined to face him through whatever might arise. As a lawyer and as his friend.
Then that's what we must do.
The defense has no objection, my lord.
Very well, defendant, you will take the witness stand and give formal testimony on the subject of your involvement with the Reaper and the assassin exchange. As you wish, my lord. I've never taken the life of another, nor have I instructed another to kill. I've been investigating the truth behind the Reaper for years, and I was aware of Gregson's involvement. That's the reason why I went to Fresno Street that day, and how I came to discover the body. The point is, no common thread exists between myself, Gregson, and Dr. Wilson. Clearly, therefore, there is no reason to suspect me of being behind the assassin exchange. So, you deny all accusations by the prosecution, both that you are the Reaper of the Bailey, and that you masterminded the assassin exchange. I acknowledge that the public at large believe me to be the Reaper. However, that's a fallacy which I alone am in a position to forswear.
Naturally, the prosecution believes the testimony just given by the accused to be untrue.
Ryunosuke Naruhodo.
Yes.
Let me ask you, why are you here? What really brings you to this courtroom?
desire to uncover the truth.
Even if the truth proves your client to be guilty?
From all my experiences in this courtroom, I've come to realize something. The truth can't be hidden. Sooner or later, it will come out. So it's always my intention to work with my client in pursuit of the truth.
I want you to remember what you just said. Enough dilatory chatter. Counsel for the defense, proceed to cross-examine the witness.
Yes, my lord. I know exactly what you're thinking, Kazuma. I know you're just waiting to point it out. The contradiction you're convinced lies somewhere within this man's testimony.
Okay. Okay. That's the reason. Fresno Street. I might have to press. Let me see. No common thread exists between myself, Gregson, and Dr. Wilson. That's the only thing that sticks out to me. I know something exists between yourself and Gregson. But what about Wilson? Just the autopsy, right? That's the only thing I can think of. The fact that Wilson was... That is the other one. This is Clint's. And we know that Gregson is connected. That's the only thing I can think of. Should I press first? Let me press first, just to be safe, but I'm pretty sure it's that.
Hold it!
There is a link between you and Gregson, though.
Of course, we were close acquaintances. We'd worked on numerous cases together. I considered the man to be a mentor of sorts. He taught me a number of important lessons.
He did? Such as what?
Where to buy good fish and chips, and such like.
Well, that was convincing.
Dr. Wilson was a coroner, of course, but that was some time in the past. And in any case, I understand it was several years ago now that he was invited to work at a Japanese university.
That's right. He was a visiting professor at the Imperial Yumei University in Tokyo.
It should be unambiguously clear then that no link exists between myself and him.
So I guess you didn't know. Okay.
In other words, I had no motive for sending some assassin across the oceans to kill the man.
It sounds plausible enough, and I want to believe it. Something about this just doesn't quite sit right with me.
Alright. Alright. This is it. Sorry, buddy. You're wrong about this. So... Clint's autopsy report.
Objection!
What is this? An autopsy report? Wait, this is 10 years old. From the autopsy of Lord Clint Van Zeeks. What? My brother's autopsy report.
I'm pleased to see the defense doesn't intend to run from the undeniable truth.
Order in court. What reason do you have for presenting a 10-year-old autopsy report here, Counsel?
The autopsy report of the professor's final victim, is an indelible link between Inspector Gregson, Dr. Wilson, and the defendant.
Not that accursed name again. The Professor. I've personally researched all of the court records relating to that case. I know that at the time, autopsy was considered sacrilege to the victims' souls. And for a member of the aristocracy like Lord Clint Van Zieks, it was unthinkable. But someone implored the powers that be to allow the autopsy to go ahead. Inspector Gregson. He declared that he was certain he would obtain conclusive proof from the procedure.
And it was Dr. Wilson who conducted the autopsy. His signature is clearly visible on the document.
As promised by Gregson, the autopsy did indeed produce evidence. Evidence that conclusively proved Genshin Asogi was guilty of the murders. In my brother's dying moments, he mustered all his remaining strength to leave that vital clue behind. Indeed, that was the key to indicting the professor for his crimes, and the conclusive evidence that convicted him. It enabled Lord Van Zieks here to avenge his brother's senseless death, with a marvelous victory in court.
A marvelous victory, was it? Ooh, this is getting nasty now, y'all.
I wonder if that's really true.
What?
Could the same be said if it turned out that the key piece of evidence in question was in fact fabricated?
Yeah. I mean, come on, it's kind of shady, right? Why was Gregson so adamant about having an autopsy performed? Why was he so certain that they were going to find something conclusive to figure out who killed Clint and who is the Reaper? Not the Reaper, the professor. Wrong name. Sorry. Reaper comes later. But like, damn. Damn. This getting juicy.
If the inspector, the coroner, and the prosecutor all colluded together to cast an innocent Japanese man as a mass murderer and send him to his death. That's outrageous. And now, 10 years later, for some reason the secret has been threatened and needs protecting. Which is why the inspector and the coroner had to be silenced, isn't it?
It's a little shady that those two guys are dead.
By someone in power in Japan and in Britain, using the two killers recruited for the assassin exchange. Order. Order at once. 10 years ago, my father was convicted in this very courtroom as a mass murderer, to be sentenced to death. But it was all a sham, and I swore to myself that I'd prove it. Which is why I had to come to Britain, whatever the cost. You'll have to forgive me if I feel compelled to toast this vengeful Nipponese's tenacity of purpose here. Your bitterness versus mine. I wonder who will win.
Oh, they're both so petty and angry. Oh, yikes.
However, he who fails to quash his emotions in the courtroom has failed as a lawyer.
Come on, Kazuma, you know this won't wash. You're claiming your father was misrepresented in a trial that took place a whole decade ago. You must see that without evidence, that's nothing more than a wild accusation.
As it happens, I have evidence.
Uh-oh. What?
As the court has heard, I crossed the channel to France with Gregson on the 31st. I went with him on the pretext of being the assassin recruited to kill Seishiro Jigoku. But my true intentions were to make the inspector tell me the truth.
What truth?
The truth about the evidence, and he acknowledged what I'd already deduced. That's a closely guarded secret about what went on in that autopsy 10 years ago.
What? Secret? I know nothing of any secret.
While we waited for my supposed mark in Jigoku's cabin, I drew my clan's illustrious sword, Karuma, before the inspector's eyes.
Yeah, you threatened him all right.
He very quickly understood what my true motive was.
Right, I see. You're that Asogi's young lad, are you?
This will be the last time I voice you, probably. I kind of forgot the voice I gave you. I just gave you very low and British.
And what? You're gonna cut me down with that thing, is that it?
That will very much depend on the answers you give to my questions. I want to know what really happened 10 years ago. The truth, that's all.
Before we get into it, let me make one thing clear. I still believe your father was the professor. There's no doubt in my mind. But unfortunately back then, we didn't have the evidence we needed to make the crime stick.
So, you admit it then. The evidence used in my father's trial was fabricated.
It was for the good of the country. Anyway, I was just following orders.
Orders? What exactly did you do? Speak!
I'm not saying another word.
Even if your life depends on it?
That's right. Even then.
So that's when the tip of the sword broke.
Oh, Kazuma-sama.
If the results of Clint Van Zeek's autopsy were fabricated, then the investigating officer, Gregson, and the lead coroner, Wilson, must have known about it. And they can only have been ordered to pervert the course of justice in that way by one man. The man leading the case for the prosecution, Barak Van Zeeks.
But you've forgotten that Barak begged to take over the case. He was not the one originally in charge. This frickin' reminds me of the Apollo Justice case with Phoenix. Oh, Phoenix Wright. I'm not going to go into details in case you haven't played that game, but it's a similar situation. Damn, y'all. Damn. I mean, it's kind of out of order. I mean, I guess it doesn't necessarily matter. I guess you could be playing this first, because it is a prequel, kind of.
In other words, the defendant did have cause to organize this exchange of assassins.
Exactly. And as was established earlier, it has to have been the Reaper himself who liaised with Jigoku in Japan to arrange the exchange. So it follows that the Reaper's true identity can only be that of the man who stands accused in this courtroom today, Barak Van Zeeks.
Objection!
Kazuma Asogi,
What?
what you've just told the court, are you absolutely certain of your facts? Did Gregson really fabricate evidence for that trial 10 years ago?
I heard it with my own ears. His shameful admission. And now Venzeeks is shook.
In that case, I know. The name of the Reaper.
Oh, because he probably figured like exactly what I just said. There's only one person who could have ordered him and that he would have obeyed. The one person who was in charge of the case before Venzeeks took over. Oh, this is an interesting look for him. Oh, he is pissed. What? What?
Lord Venzeeks?
I gave no such orders. I know that for certain. Which narrows down the remaining possibilities to one.
If Lord Venzeeks isn't the one behind all this, then yes, there is only one other person who could have done something like that. I believe I know who it is, too.
You...
I just had a feeling this name was going to come up. The true identity of the infamous Reaper of the Bailey is...
gonna be revealed in the next episode, even though we all know it. Because this feels like a good spot to leave it. I feel like as soon as I present this name, all hell's gonna break loose. So I think this is the best possible spot for us to leave this. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you're enjoying this. Things are really getting hot. Things are really getting to the climax very soon. Yeah, I feel good. We solved Gregson's actual murder, and now we're just getting up to all of the Reaper stuff and the Professor case. So it's good. Very good. Very good. I'm excited. So until next time, hope you have a nice day. Bye-bye.